Okay, so for the past, I don't know, maybe 12 to 18 months, we've been hearing about how property values, not just across the United States of America, but California, the Bay Area, and specifically here in the East Bay, where I've grown my business over the past 15 years, have dropped significantly. Why is that? But let's really touch in on what the price per square foot is, what the difference between the 2022 market and 2023 in two specific neighborhoods, two neighborhoods that I've sold hundreds of homes in. Over the past 15 years, I've met thousands of neighbors. I've door knocked basically every single home in the area multiple times over. In fact, I got bit by a dog once. I've got a scar. We'll talk about that on a completely different video, but we're talking the versus Gale Ranch versus Windemere. What happened to price per square foot between 2022 and 2023? Let's go. Hey guys, it's Brooks Landry with Real Brokerage right here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And for almost 15 years, I've been helping buyers, sellers, and investors grow their real estate portfolio, specifically here up and down the 680 corridor and throughout the San Ramon Valley. Today, we're going over the city of San Ramon, two of the most sought after neighborhoods, Gale Ranch versus Windemere. But we're gonna dig into what's been going on with the price per square foot, why it's dropped so low. I'm gonna show you trends that you need to look out for in this crazy statistic that I actually had to double check 2 or 3 times. It's gonna blow your mind. Let's dig into it. Before we dig into these stats, I'm gonna go over 3 key points that you need to consider if you're buying a home in any one of these neighborhoods. Number 1, we're talking informed decision making. This is good for either a buyer or seller. This is gonna help you understand the average price per square foot, why they differ, and it's gonna help you actually make a decision on whether or not that property or even that neighborhood makes sense for you. Number 2, market trends. Understanding the price per square foot and how they're changing is going to help you gauge whether or not that neighborhood fits for you in your future. Number 3, investment strategy. It's important to understand these trends. For example, the difference between a single-story home and a 2-story home can have a completely different price per square foot. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna share with you kind of my thoughts and my opinion on whether or not price per square foot is a viable statistic for you to even consider. Okay, so there's many reasons to understand why the price per foot matters when it comes to buying or choosing your neighborhood. You've heard me say this before, probably in other videos or even some of the shorter videos. I always say you buy the neighborhood first and the house second. You want to make sure you get into a neighborhood that obviously has appreciation for the long run. You can't fix the neighborhood, but you can always renovate and maybe build out and add to that property. And for over the past 9 to 12 months, we've heard from all the experts about property values dropping and that we're going through a correction. Let's dig into that correction and actually see what size property, what area, what type of property has had the biggest corrections. Okay, first off, let's start with Gale Ranch. And in the year of 2022, detached single-family homes had an average list price of $754 a square foot. However, that detached sold price sold at around $797 a square foot. That's about a 6% increase for that list versus sale in the year of 2022. Now, condos and townhomes are a completely different beast than a detached single-family home. In fact, in Gale Ranch in 2022, the average list per square foot was roughly around $652. But that final sales price per square foot was up 2% to about $663. Okay, now let's compare Windemere versus Gale Ranch. Windemere is about a quarter mile down the road. In fact, Gale Ranch, Windemere, they share the same high school of Doherty Valley High, but there's a completely different structure when it comes to listing your price in Windemere versus Gale Ranch. So check this out in 2022. The average detached single-family home in the neighborhood of Windemere had a list price of about $708 a square foot. But that final sales price was roughly about $736 a foot. With a 4% increase, it's not bad, and the average days on market was about 16 days. Gale Ranch, the average days on market was about 14 days. So for the most part, you list your property, 14 to 16 days later, you're in contract with a buyer between both neighborhoods. So here's where the difference changes when it comes to condos and townhomes between Windemere and Gale Ranch. The average list price per square foot in 2022 was about $562. However, the sales price per square foot was roughly about $576. That's about a 90% dollar per square foot than Gale Ranch to Windemere. That's a huge swing, and we're talking what? A quarter mile down the road. Why is that? So we know what happened. Mortgage rates dropped to 2 to 3% getting into 2022. A lot of people refinanced and didn't want to get out of that. The inventory was incredibly low. Look at the difference from 2022 to 2023 in both Gale Ranch versus Windemere. The list price per square foot in Gale Ranch in 2023 for a detached single-family regular property was roughly about $701 a foot. That final sales price per square foot actually went up to $720 a square foot, but the difference between 22 and 23 in Gale Ranch on detached single families, the values dropped by 11%. That's a huge drop when it comes to interest rates being in the 3% range and how big of a difference it goes when they're in the mid 7% range. But I'm not finished yet. Now let's look at the condos and the townhomes and what happened between 22 to 23. This is a massive difference. So in Gale Ranch, we saw an average list price per square foot of about $572 a foot, but that final sales price was about $588. So we're talking a 13% drop in property value from 2022 to 2023. Detached single-family homes in the neighborhood of Windemere actually dropped by only 3% in 2023. Now, this is the craziest stat, and I actually had to go back and double check this a few times. The average price per square foot increased in the neighborhood of Windemere for townhomes and condos by 3%. Okay, a lot of numbers, a lot going at you right now. Let's recap. In Gale Ranch, detached single-family homes dropped by 11%, where their townhomes and condos dropped by 13%. The craziest stat of them all is Windemere's townhome and condos were up by 3% from the previous year, and then the detached single-family homes dropped by about 3.5%. So I get this question all of the time from anybody looking to purchase a home in Gale Ranch and compare it to Windemere. Here's the major difference on why the price points are so far off. Because a lot of them are similar size properties, similar size lot, same high school, quarter mile down the street. Why is it that the property values are so different? Here is why. In Gale Ranch, the property tax is roughly about 1.25 to 1.3%, where Windemere has an added 0.5% bond that's put onto it for the infrastructure of the community. So where the 1.25 to 1.3 in Gale Ranch, Windemere is going to be about 1.75 to 1.8% for property taxes when you're all included. So properties are likely going to be listed significantly lower than Gale Ranch if you live in Windemere. That's the major difference. Okay, so keep in mind that the price per square foot really only matters in condos, townhomes, and duets. Anytime you're comparing those type of properties, it's usually the apples to apples formula. However, when you're looking at a detached single family home, there's a lot of varying changes. It could be you may have a pool, maybe your property backs up to open space and you've got no rear neighbors, and maybe the guy across the street backs up to a busy street. Could have the similar size bedroom, bathroom, and square footage, but there's a lot of different amenities that can factor into the sales price being completely different from detached to detached. The condos and townhomes and duets, they're roughly all the same. It's the same footprint. There is no backyards. Some townhomes may have a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to lot. Those are the structures you want to pay attention to when it comes to price per foot. Townhomes, condos, and duets. Okay, so here's 2 tips that I would recommend doing to improve your final sales price, which is going to affect your price per square foot. Enhance your curb appeal. Remember, you only get one chance to make a first impression. And when you're fixing up your curb appeal, buyers like to see that they're moving into something that's attractive. Number 2, enhance your energy efficiency throughout the property. Insulation, windows, appliances. If you're able to keep the bills down for the new home buyer, it allows them to come up a little bit more in price, maybe make it a little bit more attractive to be able to get the home sold. Enhance your energy efficiency. And finally, it's important that you hire a realtor that understands the differences in a property where it comes to price per square foot, places that they can take value from and be able to increase that final sales price. I hope this information helps. I'm always here to help. If you have any questions about the real estate market in the San Francisco East Bay, don't hesitate to reach out. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video with a friend. Next time.